Welcome, my fellow truth sages, to my channel, Sage of Lores. If this is your first time here and you like what you see, please like, comment, and share this content with those people you know who would also enjoy this type of content. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and ring the bell and select all so you can get notifications as soon as I publish more content. And stick around at the end to see how you can become a Patreon member to gain access to all of the fun benefits of being a free or paid member. Now let's get to the video, for educational purposes only. In 1988, at the tail end of the Cold War, deep in the vast frozen Arctic of Greenland, a U.S. military station was suddenly and mysteriously abandoned. No official warning, no gradual withdrawal, just gone. Why would the U.S. military abandon a high-tech Arctic base in such a hurry? Soldiers left their food on the countertops, coffee was half-drunk, newspapers were left open on the table, chairs were arranged as if people were casually sitting before rushing for the exits. It looked like a normal day until they fled. But fled from what? And here's the chilling part. This base wasn't just any outpost. It was part of the Dew Line, a mysterious chain of Arctic radar stations running across the top of the world, a place no civilian was meant to reach. And what if I told you this wasn't about the Russians over Cold War tensions, but something much older and much bigger lurking around the North Pole? The Cold War began after Nazi Germany's surrender in 1945, when the uneasy wartime alliance between the United States, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union quickly unraveled. Tensions escalated as the Soviets filled the power vacuum in Eastern Europe by establishing pro-communist regimes, solidifying a divide between East and West. Back home, tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were reaching a fever pitch. American media flooded the airwaves with anti-communist propaganda, warning that the Soviets couldn't be trusted. Headlines and broadcasts kept the public on constant alert, fueling fear of a potential nuclear strike, especially one that could come from across our undefended northern border. This is the Distant Early Warning Line, or Dew Line, a string of 63 military radar stations spanning across Alaska, Canada, and Greenland, along the 69th 70th parallel north, built in the 1950s during the Cold War, supposedly to warn of Soviet bombers or missiles coming across the Arctic border. They didn't just build it in remote spots, they built it across the very edge of the Arctic, right where famous explorers have attempted to traverse into the unknown lands of the Arctic North Pole. For centuries, the Arctic was open to those brave enough to explore it. Inuit hunters, legendary explorers like Frederick Cook and Robert Peary, even early aviators pushing the limits of the known world. But all of that changed in the 1950s when the Dew Line went live. Almost overnight, vast swaths of the Arctic, once freely explored, were locked down under the guise of national security. And by the 1960s, traveling north of the Dew Line without military clearance was virtually impossible. And today, those restrictions remain, only now they come with a new label: environmental protection. Permits, government escorts, even GPS jamming, all quietly enforce a single truth: you're not allowed past a certain point. But why? By the 1980s, private exploration tech was advancing. Planes, snowmobiles, radio. People were able to explore closer to the pole. Too close, and suddenly, these no-go zones were set up. One of those Dew radar stations in Greenland, DYE-2, was abandoned mysteriously in 1988, and no, it wasn't because of some structural issue like they claim. That's an obvious cover story, because while every other Dew Line station was gradually and systematically decommissioned, DYE-2 in Greenland stands alone, infamous for its sudden, almost panic-style evacuation. Even more suspicious, other nearby stations in Greenland built under the same brutal Arctic conditions showed no signs of the structural failure the government claimed brought DYE-2 down. The scene in DYE-2 looks like people vanished mid-shift, food still sitting on trays, coffee cups on counters, and eggs still in their cartons. No signs of battle, no bullet casings, no damage, just gone. A breach in one room let snow pour down the entire hallway, but this base was engineered to withstand the Arctic extremes, so why would they run? What did they see? Greenland isn't just a frozen wilderness, it's a hotspot for UFO sightings, especially near Thule Air Base, one of the Keedu command hubs. Back in the 1950s, U.S. military radar operators at Thule reported tracking a flaming, square-shaped object, too fast to be a plane, too big to be a drone. In another case, jet pilots flying near Cape Jessup saw a pearl-colored disc that vanished mid-air, just miles from the dew line. Even a retired U.S. Air Force major confirmed the strange sightings. In the 1960s, Major Edwin Jerome, who worked directly with the dew line system, said, "Many times, high-speed unknown objects were discerned which could not be explained as normal air-breathing vehicles penetrating our sectors. The Air Force denied the presence of Russian aircraft vehemently. When it was suggested that they might be extraterrestrial, everyone clammed up." Major Jerome was a command pilot, Air Provost Marshal for about 8 years, and also served as an intelligence officer and CID investigator. And we can't forget the infamous Admiral Richard E. Byrd's 1947 Operation High Jump mission in the South Pole, and later Arctic North Pole missions are still partially classified. His claimed flight beyond the pole adds to the lore that something is up there, something being protected, or something hidden. All of these sightings a coincidence, or were these installations not just built to allegedly detect Soviet missiles, but to monitor the skies, specifically the North Pole, for something else entirely? Let's take a trip back in time. Ancient maps in the 1500s, like famous cartographer Gerardus Mercator's 1595 map, depict a now hidden land at the North Pole. In a letter written in 1577 to Queen Elizabeth's advisor John Dee, Mercator described the North Pole as a massive whirlpool surrounded by 4 large land masses divided by 4 rivers, with a black magnetic mountain, Mount Rupes Nigra, or what the Tibetans call Mount Meru, at the center of the earth. In the midst of the 4 countries is a whirlpool, into which there empty these 4 indrawing seas which divide the north. These 4 gulfs are parted by 4 promontories standing out in the ocean. Mercator wasn't the only one to depict this enormous landmass at the North Pole. Johannes Ruysch's world map in 1507, Abraham Ortelius's map in 1570, Jodocus Hondius's map in the early 1600s, and Giacomo Gastaldi's map in 1546. These features also resemble the 4 rivers of the Garden of Eden as described in Genesis. Some theorists have also speculated that Psalm chapter 48, verse 2 in the Bible, reaffirms the existence of the great magnetic mountain in the center of the earth when stating, "It is high and magnificent, the whole earth rejoices to see it. Mount Zion, the holy mountain, is the city of the great king. It is situated in the north." However, a quick look at any map from the early 19th century up until today has the landmass at the North Pole completely erased from the record. In that letter to John Dee, Mercator described this hidden land said to be sacred and powerful. What if the dew line wasn't for protection, but for containment, either keeping something from getting out or keeping the population from getting in. The dew line stretches across the Arctic region near the Arctic Circle about 66.5 degrees north, but generally sits just above it. This latitude places the dew line in a region that borders the Arctic Ocean, is sparsely populated, and extremely difficult to access. It strategically blocks direct polar routes. Coincidentally, the very region many maps of antiquity place ancient lands like Hyperborea, which according to ancient Greek historian Hecataeus of Abdera in the 4th century BC once stating, "The Hyperboreans dwell beyond the land of the Celts, in a land that faces the ocean and is not touched by the rays of the sun except for a short time in the year." This clearly places Hyperborea in a polar-like region where the sun barely rises, a reference consistent with Arctic conditions. As with many ancient accounts, Tibetan traditions describe Mount Meru as located at the center of the earth, an area that some say contains a vast opening at the North Pole. According to their teachings, this passage is one of many that leads to the mystical hidden city of Shambhala, said to lie deep within the earth. Tibetan writings refer to this inner world as a real physical place, referred to in Western esoteric traditions as Agartha, or even interpreted as a garden, possibly alluding to the location of the Garden of Eden. Most of the dew line was deactivated in the late 1980s and early 1990s. In 1985, the North Warning System began replacing the dew line. It includes modern long and short-range radar stations across the Arctic, but fewer than the dew line, jointly operated by NORAD, a partnership between the US and Canada. Many of the original dew sites were either dismantled or converted into part of this new system. Here's what gets even more suspicious. Even though the dew line is dead, most of the Arctic areas around it are still restricted, controlled by military or government agencies. Exploration, especially near Greenland and the high Arctic, is heavily limited. Civilian access is practically impossible without military or scientific pretext. Private explorers blocked. Routes shut down. Expeditions rerouted for vague reasons like danger or fragile environments. Always near these old stations that we're told are completely out of commission. Even Arctic tourism today is heavily restricted, with no one allowed near the radar sites, not even nearby Inuit communities without military coordination. One has to wonder, if a dew line site is fully out of commission, why is exploring the area near it still off limits? Why can't people freely explore beyond the line? What are they trying to keep hidden? Now flash forward. Why did President Trump want to buy Greenland in 2019? The media laughed and made a mockery of the idea. But what if it wasn't about minerals or bases, but control? Control over whatever lies beyond that dew line. Something that requires a heavy military presence to make sure no one, including you, ever finds out. Whatever caused those soldiers to flee from that Arctic base in Greenland in 1988 is anyone's best guess. One thing is for certain. A deeper investigation reveals that there is definitely something very ancient above that dew line the government does not want the general public to see. From ancient texts to ancient maps, modern satellite photos to UFOs, to abandoned bases and presidential interest, something is going on up there. Some say it's just a magnetic anomaly. Others, an ancient hidden land that's intentionally being kept from the general public. What do you think exists at the center of the world? Drop your theory in the comments and let's find out together. I hope you enjoyed watching this presentation. I'm going to be posting a lot more content just like this. If you like what you saw, Please like, comment, and share so you can inspire others to imagine all of the magnificent possibilities that exist within our beautiful and mysterious world. I do read all of your comments, so please share your thoughts in the comments section and remember to be respectful with one another, as I believe everyone can add value to the marketplace of ideas. And if you'd like to see more of what you just saw, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell and select all to receive notifications the minute I upload new content to the channel. Even if there was just one thing you benefited from and learned from this presentation, which enlightened you to the truth or possibly opened up your mind to investigating further, or you just thought I did a bang-up job, please consider donating and becoming a Patreon member. I don't use AI voiceovers or anything like that because I believe in giving my viewers the most authentic experience possible, which means these videos take a painstakingly long time to put together. So showing your appreciation with becoming a paid member or just a one-time donation truly helps me be able to continue to make content just like this. Please see the links in the description for my Patreon account. Benefits of becoming a free Patreon member include access to posts and community engagement, voting power on upcoming episodes or topics so you can help shape future content, and you will be the first to know about upcoming topics I plan to include in future content. As a paid member or friend of the show, you will get all the same benefits as a free member, but also get stronger voting power for upcoming episodes or topics in future videos, early access to videos before anyone else, behind-the-scenes content, paid member shoutouts at the end of each video, supporter badges, downloadable graphics I use in the presentations, and discounts on merch when available. Once the channel reaches 50,000 subscribers, I'll be opening up higher paid tiers in the future that offer even more exclusive access to everything involved in my process, with some bonus extras including knowledge sessions, webinars, and collaborating with me on future videos. Be sure to check out and add Sage of Lures on TikTok for other content related to presentations you see in this channel. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to engaging with you all and growing this channel into a sacred online community of sages that, together, hold the key to illuminating our fellow brothers and sisters to the truth about the world we all share, with the hopes of making true sages of lures out of everyone. The future is in our ancient past.